Welcome to the Women in Industry podcast. This is series 3. My name is Kirsty Davies-Chinnock. Today I'm talking to Marie Gauntlett from Hubtel IT. Hubtel Communications were established in 2002, providing telephone systems, network cabling, calls and lines, broadband and maintenance. And then as telephony became more technology reliant on IT and at the request of their clients, they began to provide IT support as well. And in 2013, they established Blue Click IT to become a total solutions provider. Marie is an experienced account manager with a demonstrated history of working in the industry. She's skilled in negotiation, coaching, and customer relationships. Marie began in telesales and with her personable nature quickly progressed to account management. And her pet hate is noisy eaters in the office. Thank you for joining us, Marie.
Good morning all, how are you?
I'm very well. I love, when I was stalking you on LinkedIn and on your website, I love on the Meet the Team page, you're incorporating a pet hate for everybody. That's just brilliant. Who came up with the idea?
Well, I think it was Jo, our director. She shares the same pet hate as me. So she thought it was fun to find out everybody's pet hate. It's just to get to know a little bit more about each staff member, really, and appreciate their frustrations and boundaries in the office.
I think it's brilliant. One of our clients, they're on hold music, rather than going, we now stop this, or see us at this exhibition, which like ours does. They talk about each member of the team you're going to be talking to, the commercial team, and it gives you an interesting fact. And I always remember one of their team has the same lunch every single day, and she has done for like 14 years.
Really?
I just think that's brilliant. Just bringing a bit of the personality to it. And I have to say, I'm with you on the noisy eaters.
I believe it is a misphobia. It is an actual issue. It's is it misphobia?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, there is an actual diagnosis for it now.
Oof. I had a colleague once who used the main office microwave to heat up some, I think it was fish pakora.
Oh.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we frequently eat pakoras here. It was the fish element. And we got every door and window open for about 3 hours.
We have a guy, he can't stand the sight or the thought of cheese, which I find is a very bizarre pet hate.
When I was looking at all the pet hates, I was going through them, and I have to say I'm with Andrew on forgotten passwords. Leah on incomplete data entry. The amount of times I go to something and it's not done properly and I have a tantrum. Normally because I've forgotten to hit the right button, I will be honest. Jo and printer issues. Oh, I mean, is there nothing worse than a printer that won't do what you want?
Yeah, when you're in an office and you just need something and the printing working, I don't understand that frustration because it's not my pet hate. But I can imagine as a first line tech, second line tech, he gets really frustrated with it.
Oh, definitely. So I won't eat anything, and I promise I won't do it noisily while we're talking.
That's fine.
So I said in the introduction, you've been at Hubtel for over 16 years.
Yeah.
So you've obviously found a role, a career, and a company that you really enjoy. So what about it, about the communication industry, is it that you enjoy working in?
It's more meeting different people every day. But not only that, is I'm a very solution-based person. So if someone has a problem, I like to go and find a solution if we haven't got the solution for them. But then you get to work with a lot of people. I mean, one of our largest clients are a women's aid. They have 250 staff, and they challenge me, and quite rightly. And it's a really nice place to be challenged. But not only that, the company has a drive to grow. So if you start at a company that has growth, ambition, and you're very ambitious self, it's just a place where you'd want to stay and want to stay within the
There's a
people.
synergy, isn't there, in your goals and the company's goals, and if they meet and match, it almost accelerates, doesn't it?
Absolutely, they have to align. If they align, then you'll be with that company for a long period of time, and you enjoy your job. Your ambitions align. Yeah, it just makes it really exciting to come to work. Sometimes it's tough, but every job that you do is tough. So yeah, I love it here, and hopefully another 16 years to come. We'll be having this conversation in 16 years' time, and you'll be saying you're 32 years in, and I'll be like, time to retire now, surely.
No, we're not having this conversation in 16 years' time, because I've just counted, let me count on my fingers. In 16 years' time, I'll be 68. Wow. We're not having that. Yeah, we probably will. Let's be honest. So IT is traditionally viewed as a male dominated, industry, whether it's engineers jumping on your screen if there's a problem, or coming in and cabling for different types of new broadband and fibre and everything, and changing lines of code. You rarely see sort of examples of women doing this, and they will be doing it. So why do you think it's got such a male focused image?
The term engineer is associated to male jobs historically, I think, and
Preach.
it stems back to stereotyping jobs. What's a woman's job? What's a man's job? Women should be in the kitchen. Men should be out doing the work. And I think schools are addressing this unconsciously bias nowadays and actively encouraging girls to get more involved in science. So hopefully we'll start to filter through the workplace, and the women will realise that they don't need to conform the stereotypes. And I think when you think about an IT engineer jumping onto your screens, do you picture a man or a woman? You're likely to picture a man, aren't you?
Yeah. To be fair, all my IT engineers that I use are men. So
I think there is definitely women out there that do the job. It's just being able to employ the right person here. We'd like to grow the female side here. We're a very male dominant industry, but male dominant in the office too. But that isn't down to choice of the company. That's just down to choice of people coming for the interviews, unfortunately. I'd love to see more women in here, especially on the engineering side. Just going back to the one of our charities, they're obviously a women's aid, and they have a space which is just women, and no men are allowed in there. So I can only imagine it's going to be difficult at times for them and for us to support them. But obviously, I go to site, so I can do what I need to do on site. But it'd be great to have more female engineers, so we could put them into that space where our clients feel comfortable too.
I think if we look at sort of, I mentioned my age earlier, or how old I'll be in 16 years. So I'm in my 50s. So when I was at school, technology, sort of computers and things like that, weren't really a thing in the early 80s.
Yeah.
They were starting to come through, but it wasn't like technology how it is now at school. And whilst you do sciences and things like that, it was, for example, typing, was the B stream, predominantly girls at school, go and do typing, you'll be a secretary.
Yeah.
And so when computers became part of our daily life, I was like, I don't know how to type. I'm literally one finger, because I was never taught. And of course you get better with practice, but it's such a huge part of our life now. And as I said, I'm getting on a bit. So I remember the dial-up internet, and you couldn't be on the phone, and dial-up and all those bleeps and everything. And it's amazing how that's changed. in the last 25 years, and you've been working in that environment for 16 of those.
Yeah.
So how difficult is it for providers to keep up with things? Because, it's like, I'll go, I want new this, new that, have it all done, have it cabled. A blink of an eye later, okay, that might be 10 years, but it'll be, oh, that all needs to change, and you need this now, and you need that now. And it's like, more money.
It's all, yeah, it's not us that make these choices, by the way. So we don't.
Oh, I know.
Make the choices for change, but it's not that difficult, to be honest. Having a good relationship with your vendors help. We sit in webinars and conferences that enable us to stay up to date for the new solutions that are coming out, and we work hard to develop our network wider, and it all helps. Talking to as many people in the industry helps. Keeping your finger on the pulse. I've also found it's beneficial to organise with a mutual interest in your industry, looking for collaborations for mutual gain also. So in the very, very old days, being friends with another IT supplier would be deemed as never to do. But actually, it's very beneficial to you and to the company to just get other ideas and how other companies are doing things. Are we doing the right things? So we just gauge what we're doing by that also. But it's just staying up to date. Everything changed in the world.
Oh, it does. And, none of us have got a crystal ball, so no one's going to know what the next big thing is going to be. But what I found really interesting is about 15 years ago, QR codes were a big thing, and then they just sort of disappeared, and now they're back again.
Did they disappear, or did people get used to knowing what a QR code does now? So you don't notice the frustration anymore?
Yeah, I suppose that's true. You used to have QR code readers on your phone, and now you just use your camera. So,
yeah. I think
what do you think we should keep an eye on as it develops?
I think AI, artificial intelligence, is definitely the biggest one on the radar at the moment. You see it all over the world, specifically the risks that it poses for cybersecurity. For instance, I don't know if you've used ChatGPT much, but since 2022, malicious email attacks have increased by 4,000%.
Wow.
So it's knowing what the AI can simulate the cybersecurity attacks, and it's just making sure that if you are using AI, you're aware of the risks, or you talk to your IT team about what they need to have in place. But that's definitely on the up, as you know.
That's a huge percentage.
Yeah, I believe they're also screening women for breast cancer, so they're doing research to see if they can pick it up a lot sooner.
I think there's going to be a lot of benefits from AI, but again, it's understanding that a risk comes with it and taking a calculated risk when you're using it, and making sure you've got as much as you can cybersecurity in place. But there's a risk to everything. Digressing slightly, I went to the building society yesterday to get some money out because my son and daughter-in-law are buying their first home.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited for them. I practically had to have a blood test to be able to get my money out of my account.
Really?
I was just like, I know you have to ask because of scammers, but I don't really want to answer because it's private, but I will.
Yeah.
And I had to fill in this and I had to fill in that. And I was like, I understand why they're doing it. And if I was being scammed and I'd got no recourse on it, I'd be very upset.
Yeah.
But it's got to be so difficult for those people to be faced with someone going, just give me my money, I don't want to ask questions. The same way it's got to be for people like yourselves who are trying to keep people safe, who are clicking on weird and wonderful links in emails and, getting scammed by an email, because the people who do this, they're moving so fast and taking advantage of things that we haven't even heard of, that keeping up and keeping them out is, it's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. And I think for anybody that is really intrigued in using AI, and to be honest, it is a great tool in certain scenarios and situations. Just be mindful and speak to your IT provider and see if they're using the right tools that are best practice to help protect them. But it is a scary world, but everything new is scary for people because it's the unknown.
Very much so. And you mentioned while we were talking about the charity you work with, which is the Black Country Women's Aid. And I know you've worked with them for a while. So you also said it's a scary world, and I think it's getting scarier by the day.
Yeah.
But what challenges are they facing as a charity at the moment?
Challenges are just security, and it changes all the time. We have meetings with them quarterly to make sure their security is up to date. But just to give you a little bit of background about Black Country Women's Aid, is they support victims who have been abused and challenged in the awareness of their service. I don't know if you've heard about the recent story about the young lady that killed herself as a result of domestic violence and domestic abuse. But maybe if she'd been able to have access and support from a company like BCWA, the outcome would have been different. So that's what they do. And our aim is to protect BCWA's infrastructure and their systems to ensure that when people are accessing their client, accessing BCWA organisation, it's all safe and secure. Obviously, one of the biggest challenges is abuse isn't going away, and it's just getting more and more known and heard of, and awful outcomes at the end of it. So staying up to date with them, making sure they have the right security in place, but we work really close with them as an organisation to make sure they're secure.
And having that support from you, it's one more, it's one less thing they don't have to worry about.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
It's well, I was about to say it's fantastic, but it's not fantastic that they have to exist in the first place.
Yeah.
But it is fantastic that they've got a partnership with yourself, someone who is really focusing on working and supporting. I think the more private companies can do to sort of pick up the shortfall that we've got from the public sector, because there are so many charities out there that aren't getting the funding that they need, when they're spending all their time trying to find money to pay for this and trying to find a person to look after that, by people coming in and really helping in a tangible way. It just makes the world a little bit better, a little bit nicer.
Yeah, I've heard some of the stories.
Hopefully.
And some of the stories that they're horrific, but I've also heard survivors, and their stories are such a pleasure to hear in terms of what they've done for the person who's been abused or been a victim. And it's just a pleasure to work with them. And it makes us want to do the best possible job for them because, as you say, they need support not only from the organisation but from people like us, to make sure that the systems they're using are safe. Can we help with the fundraising events that they do, just to raise awareness? This podcast today is going to be great awareness, and somebody listening hopefully will take something from it and go and get some help and support if they need it, because it's out there.
And that's the thing, isn't it? It's a lot of people don't know where to turn, or they think that they're not perhaps going to be able to access that help, or perhaps they're scared to.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the things that's most reported on is that the time when a woman is most vulnerable if she's in an abusive relationship is when she leaves or when
Yeah.
she tries to leave. And being able to get that support, it's an incredibly brave step for someone to try and access that support, but also it's terrifying.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is actually taking the first step, as you mentioned. What are the repercussions of everyone knowing what's happening to you? And when I say everybody knowing, I don't mean everyone is in the whole world knowing, but somebody you're talking to, are they worried that that information is going to get back to their abusive partner? And then what happens if they don't get the help they need, or the court don't give the decision they should do, and they have to go back to that abusive partner? What's the repercussions then? But there's so many survivors that Black Country Women's Aid help, and I can't stress enough, they're brilliant. They're a huge charity. Their services are wonderful, and it's just a pleasure to work with them, because you see day in, day out the rewards of them helping people. And help, it's not just women, it's children, it's male. So anybody in this situation that they feel they need to talk to somebody, just give them a call and they'll listen and they'll support, they'll advise as much as they can.
They're changing lives, aren't they, at Black Country's Women's Aid? They're changing people's lives for the better, which it is just something we should really get behind and support them doing. So
Yeah. And going
anybody
back,
watching this, go and make a donation.
Yes, make a donation, raise awareness just by talking about Black Country Women's Aid, about what they do. And just going back to my job, and I've been working with BCWA now for over 10 years, and they are probably one of the main reasons I love my job, because you can see success and you can see how I can change someone's life, not directly, but indirectly by doing our job properly.
I love that. I really, really do. And I love the longevity that Hubtel IT have been supporting Black Country Women's Aid as well. That's you quite often see, don't you, on social media or something, this is our charity partner, and it's great, but you don't tend to see that longevity of relationships so much.
Yeah.
And I think when you do, it tends to be more of a business as usual rather than somebody, sort of going, look at us, we're supporting them. Because it's like, well, obviously we support them. We've done it for over a decade.
Yeah,
So
we join their fundraising events. We've got International Women's Day coming up, the event with them. We try and do as much as we can, not just in hours, but outside of hours, because what we do in hours is our job. What we do outside of hours is how we really care.
Oh, I love that. And as well as your career and obviously the work you do supporting others, you've also recently retired from your second career, because obviously one wasn't enough for you, Marie.
I know.
And you were a semi-professional footballer for Wolverhampton. When did you start playing football?
So I've always enjoyed playing football because my dad played football, my older brother played football, and as you know, girls are normally daddy's girls, so I used to look up to my dad quite a lot, and I still do. And he used to go off, play football, and I'd be on the sideline just watching him play, and ended up starting to kick a ball, became good at it. So I started when I was 8. I joined my first football team when I was 8, played for Solihull Borough. Had my first game with them, wasn't signed on properly, and I came on and I scored 6 goals, and they made me come off because they was like, this is all getting really concerned. You're not actually signed on properly, so you're going to need to come off.
Oh,
Which was fine. The following week, I was completely signed on, so I was able to continue to play for them. But yeah, I started when I was 8 at Solihull Borough, progressed then to Birmingham City Women, played for Birmingham City for 4 or 5 years, and then I went on to Coventry, and then my final step in my career was to Wolves, which was retired 2 years ago. So from the age of 8 to the age of 33, picked up a few injuries along the way.
yeah. That's a problem. All these things that are really healthy for you are normally no good on your knees and various other bits.
No, I had 2 knee operations,
Oh,
and lost a hamstring in the process. So it was the
ouch.
final straw to stop
Yeah.
playing now.
I have to say, you've done really well with all the Midlands teams. You're missing West Brom and Aston Villa, though. So you
As
haven't.
a Blues fan, I don't think I'd ever play for Aston Villa.
Oh, I'm not going to say a word about that. Um, Finally, Marie, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
When I was younger, I worked for Birmingham County FA, and their director, who I look to a lot because Birmingham County FA is a football association, and he always taught me and said to me, which has always stuck with me from the age of 16 to now, is if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. And it hits
I
well.
love that.
It's a brilliant saying, because if you don't grow as a person and change, you'll always get what you've got. So if you're ambitious and want to grow and want to be better, you have to work harder to do something different.
I absolutely love that. Oh, thank you so much, Marie. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And anyone watching this, please do go and check out the Black Country Women's Aid. When this is on our socials, we'll have a link to their website. Go volunteer, donate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kirsty.